Students, now goes to discuss about the skeletal muscle. Muscles are mesodermal in origin. Okay, student, and muscles are three types mainly. These are skeletal muscle, smooth muscle, and the cardiac muscle. Muscles shows different types of the properties: excitation, contractility, and the relaxation. These are shows by the muscles. Muscles which are attached to the bony structures, skeletal structures in the body, these are called skeletal muscles. Okay, student. Bundle of muscle fiber. Bundle of muscle fiber. These are called fascicle. Bundle of the muscle fiber is called fascicle. Okay, student. Fascicle covered with the connective tissue sheath is called perimysium. And another one, group of the fascicle, bundles of the fascicle is forms the muscle which is covered with the connective tissue sheath is called epimysium. Muscle consists of fascicle that consists of more number of the muscle fiber. Okay, student. Now structure about the skeletal muscle fiber. Skeletal muscle fiber that is covered with the plasma membrane which is called sarcolemma, and cytoplasm present in the muscle fiber that is called sarcoplasm, and muscle fiber that is shows the syncytium. What about the syncytium? Syncytium means multinucleate position, more number of the nucleus present in the cytoplasm of the muscle fiber. What about why this is the syncytium shows by the muscle fiber? Each one of the muscle fiber is formed by embryonic mononucleate fusion of the embryonic mononucleate myoblast cells. Okay, and because it shows the more number of the nucleus, and the peripheral nucleus is just below the sarcolemma, region of the sarcolemma, and the endoplasmic reticulum present in the muscle fiber, that is called sarcoplasmic reticulum. Sarcoplasmic reticulum is a storage place for the calcium ions. More calcium ions present in the sarcoplasmic reticulum, which is helps in contraction of the muscle fiber. And another one, large number of the parallel filaments. Present in the muscle fiber is called myofibrils. Now what about the structure of the myofibril? Myofibril that shows the alternate dark band, light band, alternate arrangement. One is the dark band, another one is the light band. Now this is the arrangement. Also shows the striated appearance. This is the striated appearance due to the distribution of the two types of the proteins, different types of the proteins present in the light band and the dark band. Okay, one of the protein present in the light band and the protein present in the dark band. Okay, student. And under this causes the striated appearance. Muscle fiber appeared as striated because distribution of the two types of the proteins present in dark and the light band. Now first about the light band. What about the light band? Light band that consists active protein and also with the two regulatory proteins which are called troponin and tropomyosin. Okay, student, these are troponin, tropomyosin present in the light band and also with the actin protein. Light band is also called isotropic band. light band also called isotropic band, I band. Okay student. Next another dark band. Dark band contains myosin protein. Dark band contains myosin protein. This is the myosin protein that forms the A band, anisotropic band. These are the two types of the proteins appeared as a filaments. Filaments formed by actin protein called actin filament. Filaments that are formed by myosin protein, these are called myosin filament. Okay, and thin filaments. Actin filaments are thin filaments and myosin filaments are thick filaments. Okay student. Light band also called I band. I band consists two types of the protein, actin and the regulatory proteins, and appeared as actin filaments or thin filaments. And another one, dark band, it is also called anisotropic band, A band. This is the A band that shows the myosin filaments or thick filaments. Okay student. And these are the bands or the filaments arranged as a rod-like structure and parallel to each other and expands throughout the longitudinal axis of the muscle fiber. Student, and the center of the I band, this is the I band, isotropic band. This is the region is I band. Okay student. Entire the part is I band. If you observe the center of the I band, there is a elastic fiber. This is the elastic fiber in the center of the I band. That is called jet line. Jet line also called cross membrane or Dobbe's line. Okay student. Next, middle of the A band. If you observe, this is the region. The region is called A band. Okay, A band that consists myosin filaments. A band means anisotropic band. Middle of the A band is with the thin fibrous membrane. This is the thin fibrous membrane present in the middle part of the A band. That is called M line. Okay student, that is called M line. Another one, thick filaments arranged at the same level. Thick filaments are arranged at the same level and causes the stripped appearance. Okay student, else these are the skeletal muscles also called stripped muscle and striated muscle and also called voluntary muscle. Okay student. Now, what about the sarcomere? Sarcomere, it is the portion of the myofibril between two jet lines. Okay, this is the one of the jet line. This is the another one of the jet line. This is the I band. This is also I band. Okay, student. And the portion of the I band that consists of jet line. This is the jet line. The portion of the myofibril between two jet lines. The portion of the myofibril between two jet lines. This is the jet line. The portion between the two jet lines, that is called one of the sarcomere from this region to this. That is called sarcomere. Okay, in the myofibril, the portion between the two jet lines is called sarcomere. This is the sarcomere act as a functional unit for the contraction. Okay, student. And in the resting stage, when the muscle fiber goes to the relaxation or resting stage, these are the thin filaments. Are enter towards the middle part of the A band. These are entered to the inwards position. Okay students, edges of the thin filaments invades into A band. Edges of the thin filaments enter into the A band, middle part of the A band. And another side, this is the thin filament invades into the middle part of the A band at the time of the relaxation only, and overlaps the ends of the thick filaments. These are the thick filaments are also overlaps or the covers. Okay student, and what about the H band? What about the H band or H zone Ensen's disc? H zone, that means central part of the A band. Central part of the A band. This is the A band. This is the region is the A band. If you observe the center part of the A band, this is the center part of the A band. Okay student, that is called H band, Ensen's disc. H zone, H band, Ensen's disc. Okay student, this is the central part of the A band and without the thin filaments. In H band there is no thin filaments. There is no thin filaments. Thin filaments are absent in the H band. That only shows the thick filaments or myosin filaments. Okay student, this is about the structure of the skeletal muscle. Okay students, now discuss about the structure of contractile proteins. This is about the remaining part of the skeletal muscle. Two types of the contractile proteins present in the muscle fiber. One is the actin, another one is the myosin. Now what about the actin? This is the actin. Actin forms the thin filament in the muscle fiber. Okay student, and this is formed with two F-actin molecules. It is the one of the F-actin molecule. It is the another one of the F-actin molecules. These are helically around each other, and each F-actin molecule that contain G-actin molecules. These are G-actin monomers. Okay student, and another actin is also with the two regulatory proteins. One is the tropomyosin. Okay student, this is it is arranged with two filament like structure. This is the tropomyosin. This is the another one of the tropomyosin, and runs close to the actin filament throughout their length. Another one, troponin. Troponin is distributed at regular intervals on the tropomyosin. Okay student, this is the troponin complex protein. This is the another one of the troponin complex protein. This is the another one. Okay student, and three polypeptide units divide into three polypeptide units. In this first one is TNT. TNT binds to tropomyosin. Already you know about the tropomyosin. TNT binds to tropomyosin. Another TNI. TNI inhibits myosin binding site on the active site of actin. Actin is with the active site. Actin is the filament, is with the active site, that is binds with the myosin head. Okay student, that is the binding is inhibits by TNI, and another one is the TNC. TNC binds with the calcium ions. Okay student, next, if calcium ions are not bound to the TNC, it is not bind with the calcium ions. Okay, at that time tropomyosin blocks over active site of the actin. Okay, tropomyosin blocks the or masks the active site of the actin. Already you know actin is with the active site, that is masked with the tropomyosin when calcium ions are not bind with the TNC. And another, calcium ions binds with the TNC. What is the occurs at that time? At that time, tropomyosin is moves away. Tropomyosin is moves away, and at that time, active site of the actin is exposes or exhibits. Okay, student. Now it is bind with the myosin head of the myosin molecule. The student, what about the myosin? Myosin, it is about the actin filament. Now what about the myosin? Myosin is the motor protein. Myosin is the motor protein. It is converts the chemical energy present in the ATP molecule into the mechanical energy. Okay, student. And myosin molecule contain two polypeptide chains. Myosin molecule contain two polypeptide chains. This is about the diagram of the myosin filament or thick filament. Myosin molecule contain two polypeptide chains. Okay, and it is the myosin molecule formed with meromyosin molecules. Meromyosin molecules. Myosin is the thick filament that is formed with the meromyosin molecule. Meromyosins constitutes or forms the one thick filament. If you observe one of the meromyosin, it is the meromyosin. It is the one meromyosin. It is the another one of the meromyosin. Okay, student. These are wrapped with each other. Another one. Meromyosin contain two parts. Meromyosin contain two parts. One is the head with the short arm. This is the head. This is the short arm. Okay, neck-like arrangement. Flexible neck-like structure. Entire this is formed with the heavy meromyosin. And under one, it is also with the tail. This is the tail region. This is the tail region formed with light meromyosin molecules. Okay, student. And under this is about the structure of the myosin filament. Another, head of the myosin molecules of one side in each sarcomere. Okay, the portion between the two Z lines is called sarcomere. If you observe, one side of heads of the myosin molecules are towards the Z membrane. Another side, if you observe another side, other side of the heads of the myosin molecules are towards the another Z membrane. So, heads of the myosin molecules are always towards the Z membrane. Okay, student, and in the sarcomere, and these are the heads of the myosin molecules pulls the actin filament, pull actin filaments from either sides towards the M line. At that time, muscle fiber goes to the contraction. Okay, student. Next, myosin molecules, tail part of the myosin molecules in A band, present in A band, are always directed towards the M line. It is very, very important. Tail part of the myosin molecules are always directed towards the M line. Heads are towards the Z membrane. Okay, student, it is important. Next, what about the cross arm? Cross arm, that means head and the short arm. This is the cross arm. Head and the short arm. These two parts are projected outwards. projected outwards from the surface of the myosin molecule or myosin filament or the thick filament, that is called cross arm. Okay, student. And now what about the triad system? Triad system. This is the triad system is also, it is the complex structure also present in muscle fiber. Okay, it is formed with the T-tubule and the cisterna of the sarcoplasmic reticulum. Okay, student. In this sarcolemma of the muscle fiber is shows the inwards, okay, entered into the inwards into the cytoplasm. Sarcolemma of the muscle fiber inwards into the cytoplasm or sarcoplasm and forms the T-tubules Either sides of the T-tubules are located with the cisterna of the sarcoplasmic reticulum. This entire the complex system is formed triad system. This is the triad system receives the action potential and also helps in contraction of the muscle fiber. Okay, student, this is about the contractile protein structure of the contractile protein actin and the myosin, and also with the triad system. Okay, students, now goes to discuss about mechanism of muscle contraction. It is explains with the sliding filament theory. It is proposed by Gene Hansen and H. Oxley. Question: why it is called as sliding filament theory? Because sliding of the actin filaments or the thin filaments between the thick filaments. So it is called sliding filament theory. It gives detailed information about the muscle contraction. It is also discussed with the following steps. In this, first one is excitation of the muscle. Okay, student, what about the excitation of the muscle? Central nervous system send motor signal to the neuromuscular junction via the motor neuron, through the motor neuron. What about the neuromuscular junction? This is the junction between the sarcolemma of the muscle fiber and with the motor neuron. Okay, student, when neural signal reaches the neuromuscular junction, at the same time acetylcholine is releases. Acetylcholine is the neurotransmitter that is releases. Okay, student, and this is generates the action potential. When the acetylcholine is releases and it generates the action potential in the sarcolemma, and from the sarcolemma it is spread to the triad system. Already you know about the triad system is the complex like arrangement present in the muscle fiber, which is formed with the T-tubule and either sides locates with the cisterna of the sarcoplasmic reticulum, and it is the action potential is spread to the triad system. Okay, student, and at the same time calcium ions present in the cisterna are releases into the sarcoplasm of the muscle fiber. It is very important, which causes the muscle contraction finally. Okay, student, this is the thin filament and consists of two F-actin molecules spherically round each other, and this is the myosin filament. Okay, and this is the head of the myosin molecule, and this is the flexible neck-like arrangement which connects the head with the tail region of the thick filament. Student, now goes to the second step, that is the formation of the cross bridge. Formation of cross bridge. Already you know about the cross arm. Cross arm means head and the neck part of the myosin molecule is protruded outside from the surface of the myosin molecule. Thick filament is called cross arm. Okay, student, when calcium ions bind to the TNC, calcium ions are bind to the TNC, it is the subunit of the troponin. And at the same time tropomyosin is moves away. Tropomyosin, already you know about the tropomyosin, that is the tropomyosin is moves away from the active site of the actin. At that same time myosin head is bind to the active site of actin. When tropomyosin is moves away, active site of the actin is exposed to the myosin head. At the same time myosin head is bind to the active site of the actin. It is the entire process is by the utilization of energy. It is the process is occurs due to the using of the energy released by the hydrolysis of the ATP molecule. Okay, student, ATP molecule goes to the hydrolysis and releases the energy. By the utilization of the energy myosin head is binds with the active site of the actin. Okay, student, this is about the formation of the cross bridge. Next, another one is power stroke. What about the power stroke? That is the cross bridge is pull actin to the center of the A band. Already you know about the A band and the I band. This is the cross bridge. Pull the actin filament into the center of the A band. Okay, student, and Z lines are attached to the actin filament. Z lines are attached to the actin filaments, are pulled inwards, Z lines that are attached with the actin filament also pulled to the inwards. Middle the region of the sarcomere and causing the shortening of the sarcomere. It leads to the finally shortening of the sarcomere, entire the sarcomere, and at the same time I band reduces its size. High band is reduces its size. High band is with the thin filament. Thin filaments are pulled to inwards into the center of the sarcomere because it causes the reducing the size of the high band, and A bands are retains its size. And also thin filaments pull deep into the A band. Thin filaments or the actin filaments are pulled into the middle part of the A band. Okay, student, and this is about the power stroke. Okay, student, cross bridge binds to the actin and pull to the inwards. Okay, power stroke which causes the filaments to slide between the thick filaments, and at the same time ADP is also releases. Student, and next fourth one is recovery stroke. Myosin head goes to back. Goes back again. Myosin head goes back and releases ADP, releases adenosine diphosphate. Myosin head goes to backside and releases the ADP. New ATP is binds to the head of the myosin. Another one of the ATP molecule is binds to the myosin head. Myosin head is with the two binding site. One is binds with the actin, active site of the actin. Another one is binds with the ATP binding site, that is called. Another one of the new ATP molecule is binds with the myosin head. Okay, student, and this is causes the cross bridge is broken. Okay, when new ATP molecule is binds with the myosin head and cross bridge is broken, myosin head is moves to the side from the active site of the actin. Okay, student, and at the same time new ATP is hydrolyzed by the ATPase enzyme present in the head of the myosin molecule. Some amount of the conformational changes occurs in the myosin head and goes to the formation of the another cross bridge. Okay, student. Next, fifth one is relaxation of the muscle. Relaxation of the muscle. What about the relaxation of the muscle? Motor impulse stops. Calcium ions. Motor impulse stops. Okay, student. Motor impulse is not came from the motor neuron to the neuromuscular junction at the same time. Calcium ions are pumped back into the cisterna. Calcium ions which is now present in the sarcoplasm and pumped back into the cisterna of the sarcoplasmic reticulum, and at the same time masking the active site of the actin. Masking the active site of the actin with the help of the tropomyosin. Okay, student, and at the same time return the Z lines. Z lines are returned into original position. Okay, student, this is causes relaxation. Okay, student, this is entire the process about the mechanism of the muscle contraction by the sliding filament theory given by Gene Hansen and H. Oxley. Okay, student. Now discuss about muscle fatigue. What about muscle fatigue? Muscle fatigue means it is with the prolonged contraction of the muscle. Okay, prolonged rapid contraction of the muscle, skeletal muscle. It is causes a decrease force of the contraction. Decrease the force of the contraction. Okay, student. Next, it is caused by accumulation of the lactic acid in the muscle. Lactic acid is due to the prolonged contraction of the muscle. It is decreases the contraction of the muscle, and it is occurs by the accumulation of the lactic acid in the muscle. Okay, student, and finally it is entire the process is occurs due to the anaerobic breakdown of the glucose. Goes to the breakdown of the glucose at the time of the unavailability of the oxygen in the muscle. Okay, student, this is at the same time muscle goes temporarily muscle fatigue. And another one is Cori cycle. It is described and developed by Cori and Cori. Hence it is named with the Cori cycle. Lactic acid is produced by the rapid contraction under the low availability of the oxygen. Lactic acid is produced in the muscle when muscle goes to the anaerobic respiration. Okay, student, and it is formed by the rapid contraction at the time of the low availability of oxygen molecules in the muscle. Okay, student? And this is the cyclic representation, gives information about the Cori cycle. Student, glucose is converted into the muscles. Okay, student, in the muscles, glucose is converted into two pyruvates. Glucose is breakdown into two pyruvates. That is called glycolysis. That is the process called glycolysis. And from the two pyruvates, two lactates are produces. Two lactates are produces in the muscle when it is goes to the anaerobic breakdown. Anaerobic breakdown on the glucose molecules. When it is goes to the anaerobic respiration, two lactates are produces. It is formed at the time when the muscle is goes to the rapid contraction. Okay, student, these are the two lactates by the blood. It is reaches into the liver by the blood circulation. From the two lactate, two pyruvates are produces. Two pyruvates are produces. From the two pyruvate, it is produces the glucose. Okay, student. Two pyruvates are produced. Pyruvate is the one of the amino acid. From two pyruvates, production of the glucose is called gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis, it is the one of the carbohydrate metabolism occurs in the liver cells. Okay, formation of the glucose from the other than carbohydrate materials, carbohydrate substances is called gluconeogenesis. Okay, breakdown of the glucose is called glycolysis, and at the same time formation of the glucose from the pyruvate is called gluconeogenesis. Okay, student, this is the glucose which is formed in the liver. This is again reaches into the muscle by the blood circulation, and it is helps in production of the energy in the muscle when it is goes to the breakdown, aerobic breakdown or anaerobic breakdown. Okay, student, this is the two-way traffic of the glucose and the lactate between the muscle and the liver is called Cori cycle. When glucose is not immediately used, immediately not used by the muscles or the body cells, this is stored in the form of the glycogen. Glucose is converted into the glycogen. That is the process called glycogenesis. Okay, student, glycogenesis, gluconeogenesis, glycolysis, these are important. Okay, and types of the muscle fibers. What about the types of the muscle fibers? Muscle contain oxygen storing pigment which gives color to the muscle, that is called myoglobin. Myoglobin is the oxygen storage pigment present in the muscle. Okay, student, and muscle fibers are two types. These are, one is the red muscle fiber, another one is white muscle fibers. What about red muscle fiber? What are the characteristic features that are shown by the red muscle fiber and the white muscle fiber? Okay, student, myoglobin content is high in the red muscle fiber because it is appeared red in color. Okay, student, appear red, and low amount of the myoglobin, less quantity of the myoglobin present in the white muscle fiber because it is appear white. Next, another one, plenty of mitochondria in the red muscle fiber. More mitochondria present in red muscle fiber, and these are mitochondria use lot amount of the oxygen when it is goes to the aerobic respiration. At the same time, energy is also produces. And few mitochondria present in the white muscle fiber. Few mitochondria present in the white muscle fiber, and because of few mitochondria, this is the muscle fiber goes to anaerobic respiration, anaerobic process. So these are called aerobic muscles. Red muscle fiber is called aerobic muscles because these are the muscle fiber goes to aerobic respiration. Okay, student. And white muscle fiber called anaerobic muscles because it goes to anaerobic respiration due to the low amount of the mitochondria and less quantity of the myoglobin. And another student, contract slowly, red muscle fiber contract slowly, and these are called slow muscle fibers. And another student, white muscle fibers contract rapidly, and these are called fast muscle fibers. Red muscle fibers called aerobic muscles and slow muscle fibers. White muscle fibers are anaerobic muscles and called fast muscle fibers. These are the differentiations between red muscle fiber and the white muscle fiber. Question. Let us discuss about skeletal system of the human. Skeletal system of human helps in posture and movement of the body. Posture means the different types of the bending movements shows by the body, and it is the skeletal system not only helps in the movement of the body, also plays main role in the different types of the functions. It helps in maintain the calcium and the phosphate levels in the body fluids, and it is acting as a major site for the production of the blood. It also protects the vital organs. Vital organs are surrounded with the bony structures. Okay, student. And entire the skeletal system is formed with the bone and few cartilages. Total 206 bones present in the human skeletal system. And in this endoskeleton, that is form that is divided into axial skeleton, appendicular skeleton. Axial skeleton, appendicular skeleton. Axial skeleton, this is arranged as a longitudinal axis in the body, and axial skeleton is composed with four parts which consist of bony structures. One is the skull, second one is vertebral column, third one ribs, fourth one is sternum. These four parts constitutes the axial skeleton, which consists of 80 bones. Okay, student. Next, another one is about the skull. Skull is the skeleton of head. Skull is the skeleton of head, and it consists of two sets of bones. Two sets of the bones present in skull region. These are cranial bones which are present in the cranium. Next, second one is facial bones present in facial region. Student, and total the skull consists of 22 bones. Student, next another one is about the cranium. It is called brain box. Why it is called brain box? Entire the part of the brain is encloses with the cranium. Hence it is called brain box. Student, cranium composed with the 8 bones. 8 bones. These are cranial bones. Okay, student, this is about the diagrammatic part which shows the lateral view of the human skull. And these are different types of the bones present in the region of the skull. So first one is in the cranium, frontal bone. It is 1 in number, frontal bone. Form forehead anterior cranial floor. This is the frontal bone which forms the forehead and anterior cranial floor. Okay, student. Next, second one is parietal bones. Parietal bones are 2 in number. These are parietal bones. Parietal bones. Parietal bones are 2 in number. Parietal bones form sides and roof of cranial cavity. Parietal bone are connected with parietal bones connected with the frontal bone by the help of the joint-like arrangement, which is called suture. This is the suture is a coronal suture. Coronal suture, it is the joint between the frontal and the parietal bones. Next, third one is temporal bones. Temporal bones. This is the temporal bones. These are 2 in number, form lateral parts and floor of cranium. Floor of cranium. Next, and the fourth one, occipital bone. Occipital bone, 1 in number. Occipital bone that forms the posterior part and the base of cranium. Occipital bone, that one is. And what about the foramen magnum? Foramen magnum is the aperture. It is the pore present at the base part of the cranium. Okay, student. And this is the aperture present at the base of the cranium is called foramen magnum. It helps to communicate with the spinal cord. With the brain is communicate with the spinal cord by the help of the foramen magnum. Foramen magnum is the pore-like arrangement aperture present at the base of the cranium, and by this brain is communicates with the spinal cord. Next, another one is what about the dicondylic skull? Dicondylic skull. If you observe either sides of the foramen magnum, that shows the 2 occipital condyle, one in each side. Hence it is called dicondylic skull. 2 condyles are present both the sides of the foramen magnum, hence it is called dicondylic skull. Okay, student. Next, fifth one is sphenoid bone. Sphenoid bone. Friends, sphenoid bone. This is the sphenoid bone. Sphenoid bone, 1 in number, present in middle part of the base of skull. Present at the middle part of base of skull. And this is the sphenoid bone is acting as a keystone bone of the cranium. Why it is called a keystone bone of the cranium? This is the bone is articulate with the many bones of cranium. So it is called keystone bone. Next, another one, sixth one is ethmoid bone, 1 in number. Ethmoid bone that is forms and arranged as a midline anterior part of the cranial floor. Midline like structure present at the anterior part of the cranial floor. Okay, student, this is about the ethmoid bone. And another one about the facial bones present at the facial region. Student, these consist of 14 bones. 14 bones. Facial bones are 14 in number. Next, forms skeleton of the face. These are the facial bones forms the skeleton of the face. See this first one about nasal bones. Nasal bones are 2 in number and forms the bridge of the nose. These are nasal bones. Nasal bones forms the bridge of the nose. Next, second one is maxillae. Maxillae are 2 in number and these are joined together, maxillae joined together and forms the upper jaw. This is the surface of the upper jaw that shows the sockets or alveoli and used for lodging of the teeth inside. Okay student, next third one is zygomatic bones. Zygomatic bones. Zygomatic bones are 2 in number. These are also called cheekbones. Zygomatic bones also called cheekbones, 2 in number. Next, fourth one, lacrimal bones. Lacrimal bones are 2 in number. These are lacrimal bones. These are lacrimal bones, 2 in number, and these are smallest bones at the facial region. Next, fifth one is palatine bones, 2 in number. These are forms the posterior part of the hard palate. Posterior part of the hard palate is formed by palatine bones, which are available in 2 number. Next, another one, inferior nasal concave, 2 in number. Inferior nasal concave. Inferior nasal concave are scarlet bones and forms the lateral walls of the nasal cavity. These are the inferior nasal concave forms the lateral walls of the nasal cavity. And another one, seventh one is the vomer. Vomer only 1 in number, and this is the vomer is the triangular shaped bone. This is the triangular shaped bone present on floor of nasal cavity. Present at the floor of the nasal cavity. This is the vomer. Okay student, next eighth one is the mandible. Mandible is only 1 in number. This is the mandible is U-shaped bone and the longest bone. Okay student, next it is the strongest bone and only one of the movable bone in the cranium region, except the ear ossicles present in the middle ear. Okay student, and that is about the mandible, U-shaped, longest, strongest, movable bone. And the skeletal parts that are associated with the sensory organ. Already you know about the sense organs, and the sense organs. Some amount of the skeletal structures are associated with the sense organs. In this first one is about the nasal cavity. Nasal cavity, that is the nasal cavity divided into 2 cavities. Nasal cavity divided into left and the right nasal cavities. Nasal cavities by the help of the vertical partition, vertical septum like arrangement, that is called nasal septum. Okay student, next another one, orbits. These are also called eye orbits. Okay, these are bony depressions. These are bony depressions accommodate the eyeball. Provides space for the arrangement of the eyeball. Next, third one is ear ossicles. These are ear ossicles present in the middle ear. Okay student, and 3 tiny bones, smallest bones present in the middle ear. These are malleus, incus, stapes. Malleus is the modification. These are the modifications of another structures. Articular modification, it is the modification of malleus is the modification of the articular, and incus, it is the modification of the quadrate, and stapes, it is the modification of the iomandibular. Okay student, and these are the movable bones, tiny bones, movable bones present in the middle ear. which is called ear ossicles. Next another one is hyoid bone. Hyoid bone. Hyoid bone, it is the U-shaped bone. U-shaped bone, and it is present at the base of the oral cavity. Present at the base of the oral cavity between the larynx and mandible. Location is between the larynx and the mandible. Okay, student. And it keeps larynx is always open. Okay, student. This is about the hyoid bone. Okay, student. Let us discuss about the vertebral column. Vertebral column, it is also called backbone. It is the one of the main feature which is present in the chordates. Okay, student. Vertebral column, it is arranged as a mid-dorsal position in the body of human beings. Vertebral column that consists of 26 serially arranged bony structures or units. Each one of the unit called vertebra. Okay, student. Now, what about the structure of each vertebra? Each vertebra that consists of central hollow portion, central cavity-like arrangement. Each vertebra that consists hollow portion, hollow cavity-like arrangement, which allows the passage of the spinal cord. Pass of the spinal cord through it structure. Okay, student. Next, now what about the another parts present in each of vertebra that consists of centrum or body middle portion, and another one it is neural arch. Neural arch allows the entry of the spinal nerves which are connected to the different parts of the body from the spinal cord. These are neural arch. Provides space for the entry of the spinal nerves from the spinal cord, and also process for attachment of different muscles. Vertebral column or vertebra provides space for the attachment of the different muscles. Next, student, what about intervertebral disc? Intervertebral disc, these are articulatory bony structures. Articulatory means that is attaches with the another bony part or the muscle in the body. Articulatory bony structures, intervertebral discs are, and between the bodies of vertebra. Between the bodies of the vertebra, one of the vertebra joined with the adjacent vertebra by the help of the intervertebral disc. These are articulatory bony structures between the bodies of the vertebra. Okay, student. This is the diagrammatic part that shows the vertebral column. These are serially arranged vertebra in the vertebral column or the backbone, which is arranged as mid-dorsal position. Okay, student. And these are different types of the vertebra. These are cervical vertebra. These are thoracic vertebra from this region, and these are lumbar vertebra. Okay, student, these are sacrum, and the other one is coccyx. Okay, these are ribs, different number of the ribs present in thoracic region. Okay, student, now cervical vertebra. These are first vertebrae present at the neck region and below the skull. Okay, student, and cervical vertebra are 7 in number. 7 in number. And atlas is the first vertebra in the vertebral column. Okay, student, atlas is the first vertebra, and the second vertebra is axis. Okay, student, atlas is articulate with the occipital condyle. Okay, student, if you observe the atlas has two occipital condyles. Occipital cavities, hollow structures. Atlas have two hollow structures, cavity-like arrangement. Okay, student, these are provides space articulation with the occipital condyles. Okay, student, so atlas is articulate with the occipital condyles. Already you know occipital bone. Occipital bone, it is the one of the cranial bone. One of the cranial bone. It forms the base of the cranium. Okay, student, if you observe the base of the cranium, there is a one of the aperture. This is the aperture is called Foramen Magnum. By the help of this, brain is communicates with the spinal cord. Okay, student, if you observe either sides of the Foramen Magnum, there is a occipital condyles. Occipital condyles, and the skull is called dicondylic skull. Okay, student, and the atlas is articulates with the occipital condyles. Occipital condyles. Okay, student, next another one. Atlas also has Odentide Canal. Atlas is also has canal-like structures, that is called Odentide Canal. And the axis has Odentide Process. Axis has Odentide Process. This process-like structure arises from the part of the axis. Okay, student, that is called strong Odentide Process. This is the Odentide process is fixed with joint with the Odentide Canal. Odentide Canal, and provides facilitate rotation, free rotation of the head. Next, under one, thoracic vertebra. Thoracic vertebra are 12 in number. Okay, student. These are the thoracic vertebra have articular facets. Articular facets. Okay, articular facets means these are the spaces. These are the spaces of the bony structures. Provides space for the attachment of the another muscles or the bony structures. Okay, student. And these are the articular facets of the cervical vertebra articulate with the ribs. Okay, students, ribs are dorsally attaches to the vertebra, attaches to the thoracic vertebra of the vertebral column. If you observe the ribs present in the human beings, these are called dicepholic ribs. When these are attaches to the vertebra of the vertebral column, that is the region consists of two head-like structures which are called capitulum and the tuberculum. Capitulum, tuberculum part of the ribs are attaches to the articular facets of the thoracic vertebra. Thoracic vertebra are 12 in number. Next, students, lumbar vertebra. Lumbar vertebra are 5 number. These are longest, strongest vertebra and provides space for the attachment of the muscles. Next, sacrum. It is the only one. It is the triangular bone in the vertebral column. It is formed by 5 sacral vertebra. Next, student, coccyx. It is only one in number. It is also triangular in shape and it is formed by 4 coccygeal vertebra. Okay, student, what about the function of the backbone or vertebral column? It provides stiffness to the body, strength to the body, and it protects the vital organs, internal organs in the body, and provides space for the attachment of the ribs and the different types of the muscles, and it also protects the spinal cord. Okay, student. Next, under one, sternum. What about the sternum? Sternum is the breastbone. Breastbone it is also called. It is flat bone and present at the mid-ventral line of the thorax. It is first time formed in the amphibians. Okay, student. This is the sternum divided into three parts. Superior part, anterior part of the sternum is the manubrium, and middle part is called body, and posterior part is called Dicepholic process. Okay, student, and it is the sternum. Sternum provides space for the attachment of the muscles and also attaches with the ribs, helps in the formation of the rib cage. Okay, student, rib cage means it is the one of the cage-like arrangement formed by the ribs, sternum and the vertebral column. Okay, it is entire the bony structure formed by these parts and helps or protects the vital organs present in the thoracic region. Next, another one about the ribs. Ribs are 12 pairs in number in the human beings, and these are the 12 pair ribs, and each one of the ribs you observe it is a thin flat bone. Okay, student, and another one, ribs are dorsally connected to the vertebra of the vertebral column. Ribs dorsally, these are the ribs are connected to the vertebra of the vertebral column. Okay, student, and ventrally these are the ribs are attaches to the sternum. Dorsally attaches to the vertebra of the vertebral column and ventrally attaches to the sternum. Okay, student. Next, these are bicephalic ribs or dicepholic ribs. Two articulation surfaces on its dorsal end. Dorsal end of the rib attaches to the vertebra of the vertebral column, which that is the end consists of two head-like structures, two articulation surfaces. These are called capitulum and tuberculum. Okay, students, hence these are called bicephalic ribs. Next, another one, these are the ribs are differentiated into three types mainly. In this first one is true ribs, vertebrosternal ribs. First to seventh pair ribs, these are true ribs, are also called vertebrosternal ribs. These are the ribs are dorsally attached to the thoracic vertebra of the vertebral column by their dorsal head-like structures. Okay, student, and ventrally attaches to the sternum. Okay, student, by the help of the hyaline cartilage. Okay, student, each one of the ribs are attaches to the sternum by the help of the hyaline cartilage. Okay, student. Another second one is vertebrochondral ribs. These are also called false ribs. Okay, student, 8th, 9th, 10th pair ribs. 8th, 9th, 10th pair ribs are called vertebrochondral ribs. Why these are vertebrochondral ribs? Dorsally these are attached to the vertebra of the vertebral column and ventrally joins with the hyaline cartilage of the seventh rib. Hyaline cartilage is the one type of the cartilage in three types of the cartilages. Okay, student, these are ribs. 8th, 9th, 10th pair ribs ventrally joins with the hyaline cartilage of seventh rib. Hence these are called vertebrochondral ribs or false ribs. Originally these are not joints with the ventrally joints with the sternum. These are attached to the hyaline cartilage of the seventh rib. So these are called vertebrochondral ribs. Next, under floating ribs are also called false ribs. These are not connected to the sternum or parts of rib. These are dorsally attached to the vertebrae of the vertebral column. Okay, student. 11th to 12th pair ribs. 11th to 12th pair ribs dorsally attaches to the vertebrae of the vertebral column, but these are not connected to the sternum. Okay, and or any part of the rib also not connected to the hyaline cartilage of rib. So these are the ribs are called floating ribs. Okay, student. 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th pair ribs are called false ribs. Because why it is called false ribs? These are not connected to the sternum. Okay, student. And under what about appendicular skeleton? Appendicular skeleton. Appendicular skeleton, it consists of 126 bones. 126 bones. And includes with the bones of the limbs, forelimbs, hind limb, hand and legs, and girdles, two types of the girdles. These are pectoral girdle, and the one is the pelvic girdle, and these are the bones forms the appendicular skeleton. Now what about the bones of forelimb? Bones of forelimb. Okay, student, bones of hand. 30 bones present in each hand. Humerus is the first bone in the bones of forelimb, and under one is radius ulna, and carpals, wrist bones. These are also called wrist bones. Okay, students, these are carpals, 8 in number. And metacarpals, these are metacarpals. Next, metacarpals also called palm bones, 5 in number. Mr. Student, phalanges, these are phalanges, also called distal bones, 14 in number. Next, under one, bones of hind limb. If you observe, femur, thigh bone, it is one in each leg. Femur, thigh bone, it is the longest bone in the body, and tibia, fibula, 1 in number, and under one tarsals, these are also called ankle bones, 7 in number, metatarsals, 5 in number, and phalanges, 14 in number. Another final one is called kneecap, patella. Kneecap is also called patella. Okay, student, this is the cap-like arrangement, okay, which covers the knee joint. Okay, student, it is also called patella, kneecap. Okay, it is an example for sesamoid bone. Okay, student, it is an account on about the vertebral column and the different types of the vertebra, and ribs, different types of the ribs, and appendicular skeleton is with the bones of the forelimb and bones of hind limb. Okay, student, let us discuss about the girdles. Girdles are the part of appendicular skeleton. Two types of the girdles present in the body of human beings. These are pectoral girdle, and the one is pelvic girdle. What about the pectoral girdle? Pectoral girdle divided into two parts. Okay, right and the left one. Each half part of the pectoral girdle that consists two bones. One is the scapula, and the one is the clavicle. Okay, if you observe the scapula, what about the scapula? Scapula is the large triangular flat bone. This is the scapula part of the pectoral girdle. It is the large triangular shaped flat bone and present at the dorsal part of the thorax. Okay, student. Next, at the level, it is present at the level between the second and the seventh ribs in the body. And another one of the slight elevated ridge is arises from the part of the scapula, that is called spine. Okay, and it is the spine expand to the outside and projected flattened process, that is called Acromion process. Acromion process is articulates with the clavicle. Clavicle is the another bone present in each half part of the pectoral girdle. And next one is about the coracoid process. There is also one of the process like arrangement, that is called coracoid process. It is attaches with the shoulder muscle. And another clavicle is the long narrow S-shaped bone. This is also called collar bone, which is present above the first pair of the ribs. Student, glenoid cavity. This is a cavity like arrangement, bony depression like structure present in each half of the pectoral girdle, that is called glenoid cavity. Glenoid cavity is articulates with the head of the humerus. It is the first part of the first bone of the forelimb. Okay, this is the humerus have head-like structure at the anterior part. It is fixed in the glenoid cavity of the each pectoral girdle and forms the ball and socket joint. Okay, student. This is about the glenoid cavity. Okay, humerus is fixes head of the humerus is fixed in the glenoid cavity and forms the joint. Now, what about the pelvic girdle? It is the diagrammatic part of the pelvic girdle. Pelvic girdle is also divided into two parts. If you observe each half of the pelvic girdle, that is called coxal bone or hip bone or innominate bone. Each half of the pelvic girdle, that is called coxal bone, innominate bone, hip bone. Okay, student, if you observe each of the coxal bone, that is divided into three bones. Three bones present in each of the coxal bone. These are ilium and ischium, another one is the pubis. These are three bones. And what about acetabulum? This is the ilium, this is the bone is ilium, and this is the bone is called pubis, and lower the bone is called ischium. These are the three bones, ilium, next pubis, and another one is the ischium. Okay, next acetabulum. What about the acetabulum? Point of the fusion of above three bones. Okay, student, these are the three bones at the point of region. These are fused with each other and forms the one of the cavity like arrangement, bony depression at the region of the fusion, that is called where these are the bones are fused with each other, that is the place is with a bony depression like arrangement, that is called acetabulum. This acetabulum, thigh bone is articulates in it. Thigh bone, femur, it is the largest bone in the human body. This is the head part of the femur or thigh bone articulates with the acetabulum of the pelvic girdle. Okay, student. Next, another one, pubic symphysis. What about the pubic symphysis? Two parts of the pelvic girdle, two parts. It is the one part, it is the another part. Two parts of the pelvic girdle meet ventrally, and that is called pubic symphysis. These are the two parts of the pelvic girdle meet ventrally by the help of the fibrous cartilage. fibrous cartilage, that is called pubic symphysis. It is the giant which combines the two parts of the pelvic girdle, which is formed with the fibrous cartilage, that is called pubic symphysis. Students, this is about the two types of the girdles, okay, which supports, which is the part of the appendicular skeleton and supports the vertebral column and the two types of the limbs, forelimbs and the hind limbs. Okay, student, let us discuss about the joints. Joints are helps in the movement of the body. Joints are the sites present between the bones or between the bone and cartilages. Okay, the one type of the force is generated by the muscles which helps in the movement of the bones. Joints are acting as a fulcrum at the time of the movement of the bones. Okay, student, and now discuss about the different types of the joints. Mainly three types of the joints present in the body. These are, first one is fibrous joint, next second one is cartilaginous giant, third one is synovial giant. In this first one, what about fibrous joint? Fibrous joints are synarthroses. Synarthroses, that means these are the joints does not allows the movement of the bones. Okay, student, and these are the joints are formed with a dense irregular connective tissue. Dense irregular connective tissue that forms the fibrous joints. Okay, student, these are three types. First one is about the sutures. Sutures are the thread-like arrangements, joints, one type of fibrous joint. Between, mainly these are between the cranial bones, present between the cranial bones. Example, coronal suture present between the frontal bone and parietal bone. Okay, student, frontal bone is jointed with the parietal bone by the help of the coronal suture. Next, second one, syndesmosis. These are amphiarthroses. Amphiarthrosis means slight movement is possible by this joint. Bones goes to slight movement by this joint. Hence, these are amphiarthroses. Okay, and which one is the example? Intraosseous membrane present between tibia and fibula. Intraosseous membrane present between tibia and fibula. Tibia, fibula are the two bones present in the hind limb. Next, and the gomphoses. Gomphoses are movement is not possible by this bone. Gomphoses. Which one is the example? Dentalveolar joint. This is the example for synarthrosis. Dentalveolar joint. Root part of the tooth is fixed in the, locates in the, largest in the sockets of the jawbone. Okay, alveoli of the jawbone. Okay, if you observe surface of the jawbones, mandibles or maxilla. Okay, these are the surfaces have cavities which helps in lodging of the, fixing of the root part of tooth. Okay, student, and the joint between these two, that is example for gomphoses, which are called dentalveolar joint. Okay, student, and another one is cartilaginous joint. What about cartilaginous joints? These are the joint with two bones. Two bones are jointed with the help of the cartilages. Okay, student, in this, these are divided into two types. First one is synchondrosis, second one is symphysis. What about synchondrosis? If you observe one of the bone, this is the structure arrangement of the compact bone. Okay, student, this is called epiphysis. Epiphysis, this is also called epiphysis, and this is the middle part, shaft arrangement, which is called diaphysis. Below the epiphysis there is a metaphysis. Okay, student, this is the external part of the compact bone, if you observe, and the region of the epiphysis is with a epiphyseal plates. These are mostly formed with the hyaline cartilage. Okay, student, epiphyseal plates between the epiphysis and the diaphysis are the example for synchondrosis. Synchondrosis, which one is the example for synchondrosis? Epiphysis, diaphysis of the compact bone is connected with the epiphyseal plates, which is formed with the hyaline cartilage. Okay, student, this is the example for synchondrosis. This does not allow the any movement, hence it is synarthrosis. Next, second one is symphysis. Pubic symphysis is the best example for symphysis. It is called pubic symphysis. Pubic symphysis is formed with the fibrous cartilage. Okay, each part of the pelvic girdle connected with the another part in the mid-ventral position with the help of the fibrous cartilage, that is called pubic symphysis. Okay, student, and also joint between the adjacent vertebra. There is a joint is also available between the adjacent vertebra. These are amphiarthrosis. Slight movement is possible by the symphysis. Okay, hence these are amphiarthrosis. Next, synovial giant. What about the synovial giant? Synovial giant allows the free movement of the bones, and these are fluid filled synovial cavity between the articular surfaces of the two bones. One of the bone, end part of the bone is called articular surface. Okay, student, and the joint between the two bones, this is the joint allows the free movement of the two bones. These are called synovial giant. And at the region of the joint there is a fluid filled cavity is there. Fluid filled cavity is there, that is called synovial cavity. Synovial cavity, it is the region present between articular surface of the two bones. Okay, student, and articular surface of the bone is covered with the hyaline cartilage. These are the joints allows the free movement, hence these are diarthrosis. Okay, student, diarthrosis. Next, which are the joints or act as synovial giant? In this first one, ball and socket giant. Ball and socket giant, example for hip giant, shoulder giant. Okay, head part of the humerus is jointed with the pelvic girdle by the help of the glenoid cavity that forms the shoulder joint. It is example for ball and socket joint. Head part of the femur is fixed in the acetabulum of the pelvic girdle and forms the hip joint. It is also example for ball and socket joint. This is the head part of the femur. Femur is the longest bone in the human body. This is the head part. It is fixed in acetabulum of the pelvic girdle and forms the ball and socket joint. Next, second one, hinge giant. Hinge giant. Hinge giant, which one is the example for hinge giant? Elbow joint, knee joint. Okay, student, the joint between ulna and radius and the humerus. These are the bones of the forelimb. Okay, student, hinge giant, ulnar radius, the joint between ulnar radius and the humerus, and forms the hinge joint. Okay, student. Next, knee joint, the joint between tibia and fibula and femur of the hind limb. There is a knee joint. Knee joint is covered with the knee cap, that is also called patella. Okay, student. It is formed with the tendon. It is example for sesamoid bone. Next, under pivot joint. What about the pivot joint? Example, atlantoaxial joint, joint between ulnar radius. Okay, student, already you know about the atlas. Atlas is the first vertebra in the vertebral column, and axis is the second vertebra in the vertebral column. Okay, axis has strong odentide process. Okay, student, this is the strong odentide process. This is the axis. Okay, it is the joint. In this axis is with the strong odentide process, and atlas, if you observe the middle part of the atlas, there is a canal like arrangement, that is called Odentide Canal. Okay, this is the odentide process of the axis fixed in the Odentide Canal of the atlas and forms the joint. This is the pivot joint. This is the pivot joint. Pivot joint allows the free rotationary movement of the head. Next, another example for pivot joint, that is a joint between ulnar radius. Okay, student, these ulnar radius are joints. These are the bones of the forelimb. And next, fourth one is a gliding joint. What about the gliding joint? The joint between the carpals. Carpals are the wrist bones present in forelimb. Okay, student, joint between the carpals, that is called intercarpal joint. Joint between the tarsals. Tarsals are the bones present in hind limb. These are also called ankle bones. Joint between the tarsals is called intertarsal joints. These are the example for gliding joint. Okay, student, gliding joint. This is diagram that shows the joint between the carpals called gliding joint. Next, condylite joint. What about condylite joint? Joint between carpal metacarpal of the bones. Okay, condylite joint. This is the diagrammatic part that shows the condylite joint. Okay, student, these are the carpals and these are the metacarpals. Okay, joint between the carpal metacarpal. Joint between the carpal metacarpal is called condylite joint. Next, saddle joint. It is the diagrammatic part that shows the saddle joint. These are the bones of the thumb. Okay, student, carpal metacarpal of the thumb. Joint between the carpal metacarpal of the thumb. It is the best example for saddle joint. Okay, student. Now let us discuss about structure of synovial joint. Synovial joint is an example for diarthrosis. It is the joint is called diarthrosis. Diarthrosis means this allows the free movement. Synovial joint allows the free movement between the two bones. Okay, student. And this is about the diagrammatic part that shows the structure and arrangement of the synovial joint. Okay, student. And synovial joint, it is formed with a double layered synovial capsule. That forms the synovial joint. Okay, student. Now, what about double layer? In this outer layer and inner layer. This is the outer layer, and this is the inner layer. What about the outer layer? It is formed with a dense irregular fibrous connective tissue. Okay, outer layer that is formed with a dense irregular fibrous connective tissue, and also collagen fibers is present in it. Okay student. Next, outer layer that is continuous with the periosteum of the compact bone. Okay student, this is the outer layer, also continues with the periosteum of the bone. Periosteum is the outer surface of the compact bone. Inner surface is called endosteum. Okay, outer surface is called periosteum. The space between the periosteum and the endosteum, there is a aversion system. Okay student. Next, another, this is the outer layer prevents the dislocation of the bones. Dislocation of the bones. Next, another, this fibers of layer arranged as bundles. Fibers of layer. This layer consists of fibers. These are the fibers are arranged as bundles called ligaments. Ligament, what about the ligament? Ligament is the dense connective tissue that connects the one bone to the another bone, that is called ligament. What about the tendon? Tendon is the dense connective tissue that connects the bone to the muscle. This is the difference between the tendon and the ligament. Okay student. Next, inner layer. What about the inner layer? This is the inner layer. Inner layer, it is with the areolar tissue and elastic fibers. Okay student. This is the inner layer secretes fluid. That is, the fluid is called synovial fluid. This is the synovial fluid, allows the free movement of the joint, free movement of the space between the two bones. And it is the synovial fluid is also consists hyaluronic acid, and also phagocytes, also with the phagocytes. Okay student. Phagocytes also present in the synovial fluid. Okay, it is acting as a lubricant. Lubricant allows the free movement between the two bones. Okay student, if you observe the diagram, this is the one of the bone, this is the one of the bone, this is the another one of the bone. Okay, these are the end parts of the bone. Okay student, end part of the bone, which is called articular surface. Articular surface of the bone is formed with the hyaline cartilage. This is the hyaline cartilage. This is the end part of the bone which forms the joint to the another. This is formed with the hyaline cartilage. Okay student. And this is the ligament. Ligament is formed by outer layer. Okay student. Next, another one, this is the capsule-like arrangement. Capsule-like arrangement. This is the inner cavity. This is the inner cavity. This is called synovial cavity. Synovial cavity totally fills with the synovial fluid. Okay student. This is about the diagram of the synovial giant. Next, another one, disorders of bones, muscles, joints. Disorders of bones, joints and the muscles. In this first one, what about myasthenia gravis? Myasthenia gravis, it is a best example for autoimmune disorder. Autoimmune disorder. Okay student, autoimmune disorder, it is the myasthenia gravis, affects the neuromuscular junction. Neuromuscular junction, it is the junction between the sarcolemma of the muscle fiber with the motor neuron, dendrites of the motor neuron. Okay student. And when this is neuromuscular junction is affects and action potential or impulse is not received by the muscle fiber. At the same time, it is not goes to the contraction, and mainly this is characterized with acetylcholine receptors. Acetylcholine is the one of the chemical that is act as a neurotransmitter which transmits the impulse into the muscle fiber, sarcolemma of the muscle fiber. Okay, these are the acetylcholine neurotransmitters or receptors blocked by the antibodies, circulatory antibodies. Circulatory antibodies produces in the body. Okay, these are blocks the acetylcholine receptors. Okay, and by this stimuli is not received by the muscle fiber, and muscles goes to fatigue and weakness and paralysis. Paralysis is one of the symptom. This is inability of the movement of body parts. These are the symptoms in myasthenia gravis. Next, second one is muscular dystrophy. What about muscular dystrophy? This is one of the genetic disorder, and it is with the progressive degeneration of the muscles. Progressive degeneration of the muscles occurs in the muscular dystrophy, and it is defects in muscle protein, that is dystrophin. Dystrophin is the protein is absence in the muscle. This is the protein helps in growth of the muscle and the functioning of the muscles, contraction, relaxation of the muscles. When defects are available in the muscle protein, and this causes the progressive degeneration of the muscles. Okay, student, and muscle growth is sustained and contraction, relaxation is also not possible by the muscles. Next, third one is tetany. What about the tetany? Tetany is characterized with spasm in muscle. Spasm means pain. Next, it is also with the prolonged contraction of the muscle. Prolonged contraction, muscle goes to the prolonged contraction. Due to that, it is caused by the low amount of the calcium ions present in the muscle fiber or body fluids. Due to the low availability of the calcium ions, muscle not goes to the relaxation. Okay. At the same time, this is shows the prolonged contraction, and it is also caused by vitamin D deficiency and hypoparathyroidism. What about the situation of the hypoparathyroidism? Parathormone is the hormone is not secretes from the parathyroid gland. It is the parathormone. Parathormone helps in increases the level of the calcium in the body fluids. When parathormone is not secreted by the parathyroid gland, that is the condition is called hypoparathyroidism. Okay, student, this causes decreases the level of the calcium in the body fluids, and tetany, in the tetany, relaxation of the muscle cannot occur. Okay. Next, fourth one is arthritis. What about the arthritis? Inflammation of the joints is called arthritis. Next, fifth one, osteoporosis. What about the osteoporosis? This is the age-related disorder. Okay, student, and it is caused by calcium reabsorption into the body fluids. The presence of the calcium and the phosphate levels in the compact bone, that is reabsorbs into the body fluids or the blood. Okay, this is leads to bony fractures, bone deformities, demineralization of the bones. Okay, student, and another one of the cause is decreases the level of the estrogen in the females. Okay, student, especially this is the disease mostly common in post-menopausal women. Okay, student, and at the same time, pain in bones is also symptom for osteoporosis. fractures or increases. Bone fractures or increases. Next, another one, students, gout. What about the gout? It is the inflammation of the joints. Gout is the inflammation of the joint. Inflammation of the joint is by the accumulation of the uric acid in the synovial joints. Okay, student. And what about the accumulation of the uric acid? Why it is accumulated? By the purine breakdown. Purine breakdown, purine metabolism. This is produces the uric acid crystals. This is the uric acid crystal is accumulated in the synovial joints. Okay, student, that causes the one of the inflammation of the joint is called gout. These are the different types of the disorders about the bones, joints and the muscles.